Hello, chat, and welcome to another episode of Titan Talk. You're here with a solo killgoon cast today. We're hanging out. We're going to go through the patch notes today. I forgot to update the stream title, so if there's any mods that want to update the stream title, thank you. Appreciate that. Once we're done going through the update notes, we'll just take some questions. You would think I would be higher than bronze. I actually don't play ranked. I'm not a ranked guy in any game. I don't know, something about like I don't need that stress in my life right now. I just prefer to have fun and play non-ranked versions. I know people are using my government name in chat. Let's avoid doing that. Appreciate it. And people are commenting on my shirt. I went to Kohl's the other week and they had like crazy clearance, like 50% off clearance rack, and so I got the shirt for like $8. I was like, you can't beat that. Anyway, let me pull up the update notes here if I can find the right button on the desktop. And these are live on the website now. So if you go to smite2.com/news/openbeta28 update notes, you can find those and read along with me. Or you can click on news up here and it should be listed under the news section. We are just talking through what's coming in this update. Let me turn on my cams so you can see me. The chief among them, we will have Najah coming in this update. Najah's got a couple fun +1s to look out for. He can catch his ring and then throw it again, and it just throws out one time. It can crit, can deal good damage. He also now can crit on his sash. That's a new change. It's coming back from Smite 1. And he has infinitely scaling critical strike damage on his passive. So every time you deal damage, you get bonus stacks, and your stacks will give you critical strike damage over the course of the game. So build and crit. Also, he will be getting a new version of his ultimate with a cool quick time effect or quick time event that's easier to understand, that you need to click at the right time, and I think it just looks a little bit better. Yeah, it is still a QTE. Yes, we have not changed that part of it. We also have his aspect coming out on Friday of this week. That's normally what we do, and it is the aspect of the righteous flame. I don't know if we had the name on the show before, but aspect of the righteous flame. So you now your passive will now heal you over time as you take damage. So it just gives you kind of built-in heal back, which is really useful for kind of a tankier approach. Your ring toss can now bounce back to allies and to yourself, and it gives everybody it hits a movement and attack speed boost. And his flaming spear is now a damaging AoE attack that buffs his attacks and consumes his passive to burst heal. So this is a supporty, solo-y kind of bruisery version of Najah, and you'll get to experience that on Friday. Also in this update, we have new Wandering Market Travelers. We have the Oblivion Queen Discordia Traveler. I will note that we got some feedback from people that we had missed making her eyes like kind of a bright, shining blue in the way that they were in Smite 1. We noted that has been addressed. It will not make it into this update because of when the fix was implemented, but I believe in the next update you can look forward to that. So that's coming along. There's also the Devil Punk Dodgy skin, which is part of another Traveler with some sweet prisms. Both of these are part of the Reign of the Archfiend event, so if you already bought the Reign of the Archfiend event, you will just get these when the patch goes live. If you have not, then you'll have to wait a little while. We are adding a lot of new things to jungle practice. So you can now join jungle practice with your friends to experiment, to theorycraft, to test new things with the help of the buttons that let you buy and sell and level up and all that. So you just will make a custom lobby, and then you change the mode that you want to play to be jungle practice, and then it will let you do that. Let you invite people or add bots to it as well. You can also now remove items, which will allow you to repurchase starter items and relics, which had been a long requested thing. And you can spawn god bots with some simple behaviors. So they can either attack, just basic attack, They can patrol, which they go back and forth in a 10-meter line. They can orbit, they go in a 10-meter circle, or they can just use their ability 1. This kind of first take on this. It just gives you a little bit more practice tools to goof around with if you're trying to experiment with something. You can now buy your items anywhere on the map in Jungle Practice. Makes it easier to buy things and test builds and whatnot. There is still a small fountain area where you can heal and test fountain interactions, such as changing Achilles' equipment. You now can interact to cycle between different NPCs in the middle of the map. So there's the Totem, the Jungle Camp with buffs, the Gold Fury, and Free Practice, just open space if you and your friends want some more room to explore. Arena is going to have some pacing changes. We had previously made some changes to speed up Arena, but it sped it up a little bit too much. So it went from about 19 minutes down to 12 and a half minutes. And it really didn't have a noticeable positive effect on the mode. If anything, it maybe had a slight negative impact. So we do like the quicker respawns. We think that was probably a good thing for the mode, but in general, we think it should probably be a little bit longer again. So we're bringing the ticket count back up to 500, and we're changing the kind of the passive XP and gold scaling so that it should hit that timer a little bit better. We think it should be about 16, 17 minutes probably with this new change, so hopefully that feels like a better spot. Also, we're making a few adjustments to the flower pickup. The flower pickup previously just granted power, it granted strength and intelligence, and it made it so that tanks it oftentimes felt less tanky in Arena than other modes because people were getting this extra free big source of power, and there was no source of extra tankiness that counteracted that. So now, if you pick up a flower, it will give you percent strength, intelligence, and protection. So if you're a tank and you pick it up, you'll benefit from the extra protections. If you are a damage dealer and you pick it up, you'll benefit from that. If you have a little bit of everything, you'll benefit from a little bit of everything. Also, the material glow will not be quite as bright because it was always very intense, very intense. We're also making a change to Battle Cry, the arena curio. It can now be stacked up to 10 times. You now get 2 stacks from kills instead of 1, and you get no stacks, or excuse me, you get 1 stack from assists where you didn't use 2 previously, and you get 2 stacks from dying when you got 1 previously. And it gives half the effect. So basically, TLDR, it'll work mostly the same as it did previously, except you get half of the effect from an assist, and the duration is a little bit shorter. So it's a shorter moment of power when you choose to use it. Joust is getting a somewhat similar change, where we think that the addition of the Bifrost Shard, the curio that lets you place a ward, just made it so the entire map was warded the whole time, and that was too much. So we're getting rid of that. You won't be able to have the Bifrost Shard anymore on Joust. By default, you'll have the Yowler Flare, which lets you fire off a flare. And it lets you get vision of a certain place for a limited period of time. We think that's better. Obviously, you can still buy wards. I know most of you are not buying wards, but you can buy wards, and that would allow you to have more permanent vision, but you have to invest into it. You can still swap your Yowler Flare into Heimdall's Sight, which would allow you to de-ward, but you know, we'll see how many people choose to do that. And on Conquest, the Oracle Ward no longer gives Sentry Vision, so that's an interesting new change here. Wards are like 50 gold, though, I know. And you can buy a Chalice of the Oracle for 400 gold, I think, and get free wards all game. 2 wards every time you go back to base. I mean, you can't beat that. That's a bargain right there. I've seen some people actually start to buy wards more often in Arena, just to have vision in those brushes in the middle of the map. So there's definitely some more people are starting to value vision, which is good. I don't know about this drink. We have a new drink today. It's called Joy Burst. It's all right. We also have a lot of balance in this update. I'll do the quick version of balance because I don't want to reread all the balance that we went through on Friday's show. Are the notes published? They are published. You can see them at this URL or by going to news and clicking on the link. Aladdin is getting nerfed. His wall run is going to go less far. And it's going to be on a higher cooldown, but it will have its cooldown reduced if you damage God. Apollo is getting a buff. He's going to do more damage on his dash, and he will be able to carry allies without having to spend extra mana. So hopefully people will start to use that a little bit more. Artemis Aspect is getting a buff, reduced cooldown on the trap, and increased damage on the trap. Cabrakan is getting a buff, increased damage on his punch, and increased heal on the refire of his 2. Kernos is getting a buff, better int scaling for his spring heal stance, better damage scaling on his summer stance, and a longer slow on his winter stance, and increased damage on his ultimate at early levels. Chiron is getting a nerf, decreasing the scaling on his 2. This also decreases the refire damage scaling. Discordia is getting a nerf. The range of her dash is going down by 1.1 meters, and the range of her ult is going down. Previously, it was a lot longer than the Smite 1 ult range, and now it's just a little bit longer than the Smite 1 ult range. We just thought it was probably a little bit too much. Guan Yu is getting a buff. He is getting extra damage on his 2, 10 across the board, and his 3 is getting 2 damage at all ranks. So, but that hits like 8 times, so it adds up. Hu Yi is getting a bit of a nerf / fix, so he's going to have a slightly longer pre-fire time before he gets off the ground. So it should better sync up when he becomes untargetable to when he actually leaves the ground in the animation. Jormungandr is getting a nerf. For his passive, the bonus damage that you can deal by continuously taking the auto attack, that's going up to 14 from 10, so you're not going to get that free damage quite as often. The Nuwa will be getting a nerf to the lifetime of her clay soldiers at low ranks. Newt's aspect continues to be nerfed. It now does not provide any damage mitigation per stack of Cosmic Flux. And we have decreased the crowd control immunity you get on the warp from 1.5 seconds to 0.75 seconds. Base Osiris is getting a little bit of a buff here on the Judgment Tether, lower cooldown and increased damage on his ultimate. Pele is getting a buff, decreased cooldown, on her 1, and increased inner ring damage on her 2. Sun Wukong is getting a buff. This is actually a more impactful one than maybe you would think, but Sun Wukong previously did not have what you would expect of kind of bruiser stats. So his base HP, his HP per level, some of his protections, and this was leading him to not be as tanky, as bruisery as he probably should be. So hopefully he feels more like he fits here. Thanatos and Thor, we did a pass to make sure their ultimate landing warning sounds are audible and occur at the right time for enemy reactions. These will now actually be playing from the place where you're landing rather than where the god is up in the air. So that's hopefully a good change. Vulcan is getting a little bit of a nerf here to his very strong mods. So the alternator and dual mod, where you get the thumper. The thumper's damage is just going to scale a little bit less. It's going to be 8% instead of 10%. The shrapnel mod is going to deal less damage per tick by quite a lot. The thermal mod is going to have 5% less scaling on it. And the Inferno Cannon damage scaling in general is just going to go down. Shibalanke, this is a big one if you play the aspect. Base Shibalanke, his ult is going to give him a little bit more attack speed and movement speed at early ranks. But the aspect, this is big. Using his ult will no longer reset the cooldown of poison darts. So you can't go darts, ult, darts. Instead, it's going to give you more of a damage buff when you ult. And his branching bolas are going to have increased scaling and increased base damage, because we want people to be using the bolas a little bit more as this, and not just wait till they have the darts for darts, or darts mirrored in darts for darts combo, because that was just a little bit too much. Item balance. Blinking Abyss. You can no longer blink while crippled. That is not the intent, so you can no longer blink while crippled. The jungle starters for Bumba's Golden Dagger and Bumba's Cudgel will now have the way that they deal less. If you have a jungle starter, you deal less damage to minions. I don't know if everybody knows that, but you do. Currently, it's 25%. We're changing that to be 40%, but it goes down 1.5% per level. So at level 1, you're really not going to be doing a lot of damage to minions. At level 20, you're going to be doing more damage to minions. And this should help keep jungle starters out of the lanes while making sure that jungle has its own identity. Erendite, too much strength, it's going down 10. Titan's Bane, too much strength, it's going down 10. Kinsblade and Soul Reaver are both getting a bigger rework, so the current method for determining damage is changing on both of those, and the anti-heal component on Kins is leaving. They're now going to deal damage based on a mixture of the target's base health and their health from items. So you will deal 1.5% of the base health and 3% of the item health for Kins. and 1% of the base health per tick, and 2% of the item health per tick for Soul Reavers. So more directly punishing of people who build a lot of extra health. Divine Ruin, this is the big one. This is the one that people are most excited for, I think. Based on the number of people that are watching Reels, it seems like the things that people are most excited for is catching Neja's ring bounce and having a version of anti-heal back. So anti-heal is returning. We are adding 25% anti-heal to 3 items in the game: Divine Ruin, Stygian Anchor, and Brawler's Beatstick. That does not stack with the God anti-heal that some gods inherently have. So the max that you can be anti-healed is still 25, same as it was before this update. You just now have 3 item options that let you get there. The Divine Ruin, now there's also healing reduction that's applied from the Chain Lightning, and a little bit less int. Stygian Anchor no longer has movement speed slow, but a little bit more healing echoed. Brawler's Beatstick has a bit more of a change. While you're in combat, you're going to get strength, intelligence, and protections up to 5 stacks, and then you lose a stack while you're out of combat every 0.5 seconds. So longer you're in combat, the stronger you get with Brawler's Beatstick, and then once you're out, you're not. And then new sound effects for Ragnarok's Wake. We also have some bug fixes here. That we mentioned the Thor's ult landing sound already. We fixed Chiron's dash sound only being heard by Chiron. Chiron's ability to fire sound will now only play once, regardless of how many enemies are marked. And we fixed an issue with AO1 projectiles for Izanami's Made to Kill, sounding similar to Jingwei Dragonhearted Rebels AO3 dash, I guess, and increased the global wish volume for Aladdin's Winter Wishes skin. So that's what we have coming your way tomorrow morning, bright and early. Update normally goes live, by 9 o'clock Eastern. It's usually live. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier, sometimes it's a tiny bit later, but almost always we are live by 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. The length of the update just kind of depends on how much stuff we have to do in the back end to prepare stuff, and sometimes we just have to fix a couple things in the morning. One thing that isn't on here, which I just remembered, is there's also a new Athena skin, and there's new Valentine's supporter store bundles. So check those out if you're in a Valentine's-y mode. And make your plans now for this coming weekend. This coming weekend will be double Worshipers in-game, and you will have your chance to earn the Valentine's badge of your choice. If you play more games in a party, you will get the Always Mine or Always Yours, something like that badge. And if you play more games alone, you will get the Forever Alone badge. So that's the event is going to be on this weekend, and the Valentine's Athena skin will be live in the game on Tuesday, as well as the Valentine's supporter store bundles. So those will be something that you can check out. And also there is new Twitch Prime, and I think that probably will go live as a drop on Friday, but on Saturday. But we'll have to wait for Hindu Man to confirm, because he is responsible for pushing the button for when those things go live. What's the new drop? It is the new Newt recolor. So let me see if I can actually update Steam, and we can go in game and look at a couple of these things, because but this computer has not been updated in a while. Oh no, I have to log in. Hold on, chat. Don't steal my identity. I gotta. Speaking of identities, have you guys seen this Discord having to give them your identity now so that you can use Discord like normal? I don't know about that. Here we go. Okay. So that is what we have coming tomorrow. I'm going to pull up the game in just a little bit here once I manage to update it. So we can take some questions for a few minutes here, and then I will show off some stuff in game once we can. The Discord identity thing is if the Discord is based in EU. Not according to their message that went out today, where they're going to start treating all accounts as though they are teenager accounts with limited access to things until they verify their age. So that is a new news shortly from this morning. Oh no, you can read off the reflection on my glasses. I should have paid for the anti-glare coating. No. Who is Manny's Valentine? I think it has to be Athena, because she got the new skin, right? Did I watch the McLaren F1 car reveal today? I did not watch the McLaren one today. I've been busy today. I saw the Cadillac get revealed yesterday during the Super Bowl. It was an okay livery. I was expecting more color. It's just kind of like another silver car, another black car. I don't know. I wasn't as excited as I thought I would be, considering how big of a deal they made that to be. Like they did a Super Bowl ad to show off their new car, and it's like, it's another silver and black car. Okay, cool. The Super Bowl was a tough watch. Because you were a New Englander, don't worry, it was a tough watch for the entire nation. It was a very boring game, I would say. I thought the halftime show, though, was great. I thought that, I tweeted this, that I thought that, the cinematography of the halftime show, it was like you were watching, a music video almost. It was so well staged and rehearsed and, framed. To do that live is just insane. Really, really good halftime show from my opinion. Yeah, I wanted the yellow. Yeah, the yellow livery that they use in WEC is what I had thought that Cadillac would go with, but they did not. Okay, devs updated. Let me log in here and then try to not show anything I'm not supposed to show. If I could add any item without the struggles of actually adding it, what would it do? Trying to pick one at random, trying to design one right now, maybe a little bit hard. I miss a couple of the magical bruisery items from SMITE 1 still personally, Ethereal Staff and Tablet of Destinies, I think it was called. I liked both of those items quite a bit. I would bring them back, but I don't know if that's actually the right move for the game in terms of design, because I'm not a designer, so I can't tell you that. Supporter store stuff. Let's look at. Okay, I don't think I'm spoiling anything I'm not supposed to spoil, so I'm going to go to the handy dandy desktop, and we'll look at some of the. I have to do this. Unmute. Unmute. Okay, so this is the Valentine's Day name colors and quips bundle. So there are hearts. There is a kind of pinky wave. More of a purpley wave, I guess, and a more pinky wave. There is an animated badge of the hearts. There is the just pink blush, not animated name color, and the peach glow, not animated name color. And then there's also 2 quips in here, if you can hear them.
I'll win your heart, baby.
And?
Oh, love hurts, babe.
Yeah, I'll play one more time.
I'll win your heart, baby. Oh, love hurts, babe.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the name color and quip bundle. And there's also a teleporter effects and quip bundle. So you get the Fluttercorn teleporter effects. Somebody saying Chang'e Rabbit voice pack confirmed. I believe that's actually from the Valentine's Bomb King skin from Paladins. And we thought they were good lines, so we used them again. So this is great. This might be my favorite teleporter effects that we've done so far. I love the texture, the material on it. It really just feels like an actual stuffed animal. And there's also the flying pig, Toot Sweet Hog. That's what it's named. I don't know why, but that's what it's named. Yeah, the material on this is so good, right? Right, Lord Chaos? I'm just looking at this. I'm like, man, this thing is insane. Anyway, then there's also 4 quips here. I believe these are from a Sky skin in Paladins. But again, we just thought they were good lines and that they would be fun to put in here. So we have.
Love is in the air. Love hurts. Shot through the heart. Time to break some hearts.
Okay, those are your 4 quips. I'll use one more time.
Love is in the air. Love hurts. Shot through the heart. Time to break some hearts.
Okay, so I think those are fun. I'm going to turn it off the camera or off the laptop for a second because I don't want to. Oh, I can't show you that at all. Definitely. Ooh, that would be a spoiler. Let's see. Yeah, and then this is the Heart Guard skin, the new Athena skin that is coming in this update. I think this looks outstanding. It does not have a unique voice pack, just to be aware of, but it is very Valentine's-y. It'll either be available direct purchase or it'll be in a chest. The chest also has a bundle in it of Valentine's-y things, which I will turn off the camera and go back to it. It does have new abilities. The abilities were recolored. I can go into practice and show you. That's something I can do. Okay. Let's see. I need to start the levels. Okay. So, so you get the hearts. Yeah.
I challenge
Get your
you.
pink taunt. Yeah. And then, oh, I gotta spawn an ally bot. And then...
It's time to turn this battle in our favor.
Yeah. So,
Stand your
I think these
ground
effects
and
look really
fight.
nice. I feel like we just keep getting better at effects. Yeah. So that is that. Oops, I don't need to do that. And I'm gonna go back to me for a second. And then you guys also wanted to see the Newt skin, right? I'm just gonna leave Shall Go Practice and do it that way. Quick match. Will the Season Store UI tab ever get reworked? Almost certainly eventually. I am assuming that most of the UI in this game will change at some point. But just, we focus on what the priority is at any given time. Okay, and then Solstice Sky Newt is going to be your Twitch drop. Ooh. I think this is really nice looking. Cool new Twitch drop skin. And you'll be able to get that as a Twitch drop starting, I think, on Saturday. And if I'm wrong on that, don't hold it against me. Anything else people want to see in game? Or should we just, other than the spoiler things, which I'm not going to show because they're not done yet, so that's why I can't show them. Did I see that the New England Patriots signed Heimdall for 2026? That's funny. The premium prisms are still not available. Yeah, so they were available in a chest that isn't up right now. We just kind of cycle through chests. It'll come back. There'll be a way to get them. Our goal isn't to have them be FOMO or gone forever or anything. We just have to bring the chest back. So before too long, I'm sure. I say the Valentine's Day chest was coming. Oh yeah, I should show you the other things that are in the chest. The Valentine chest. Spelling anything? I don't think so. Okay, so this is the Valentine's chest. There's 15 items in it. It also has, this is the other new thing. There is, can I see these? Yeah, okay, so there's the Guardian of the Heart card effects bundled with the Hot Stuff badge. So you can get those. Also, there is Court Charmer Aphrodite, Seraph's Bow Neath, Cosmic Moth Kukulkan, Dark Supreme Nuwa, Firefly Soul, Court Archer Cupid, Divine Retribution Thanatos, Onyx Blade Susanoo, Dark Heart Zeus. He's available. Miss Senshi, Bologna, Foxy Amaterasu, Duke Den de Leon on her, and Guan Unicorn. So those are the skins in this chest if you are a chest person. And if not, you can buy direct purchase. So I think it's a pretty good chest, though. I would like all of those skins, so I would not feel upset with whatever I rolled. I know it's like Dandelion, but it's also like Dandelion. I don't know. Okay. Is the reason we stopped updating Witch Gods reported to SMITE 2 inside SMITE 1 client? We probably forgot, and I will take a note to make sure that we do that again because we had some responsibility shift and probably just forgot about it. So I want to make a note that we need to start doing that. We also have not been sending out emails. I don't know if anybody noticed. We have not been sending out emails in a while. We need to get that started again. So you need an Oops All Soul chest. There's not that many skins. We're aware of the map bug when the game language is in French. and you've heard me say it specifically on console, but it's also on PC. Yeah, we were getting most of the reports on console, so that was where we thought it was first. But yeah, it should just be fixed everywhere with this next update. Any news on when ambassadors will be picked? I know that Hinduman had a rough list of people that he was circulating around late last week, so I would assume probably this week sometime. I will say there were like over 600 applications, and we are a little bit careful about how big we're going to grow that program because it can very quickly become unmanageable. So I think that, maybe 15, 20 people will get in this round. So it definitely doesn't mean that if you are not accepted as an ambassador, it doesn't mean that you're not a valued part of the community or you're not an awesome person. We just had more people apply than we thought we're going to, and want to be careful about how quickly we grow that group. So we're definitely letting a good number in, hopefully, but not 600 people, because that would be a lot. Is it intended that the bonus cosmetics from any chest are not in the daily chest? So there's kind of, yes. We basically, if we have a cosmetic bundle, we can never split that bundle up, or else you can get into the spot where you cannot acquire the rest of the bundle, because we don't let you roll a bundle that you own part of. And so then you would have to rely on, randomly getting it from the daily chest or something. And we're pretty careful not to do that. So things that are like cosmetic bundles, we don't split up the bundle if we can avoid it ever. Have we considered adding easier gods as new gods rather than more complex thematic gods? For example, something simple or funny like Medjed or Lubu, rather than a god who would require more concepting and a hype release. So I would say we have talked about gods of varying difficulty. I think that we're kind of unsure internally how much people would be okay with, a easier, simpler god, because recently it seems like whenever we do anything that's a little bit more straightforward, people get a little more upset about it and aren't quite as happy. So it's like, is it worth doing the effort? Let's say it's 70% or 60 or 70% of the effort when you factor in all the teams that are being touched by developing a god for something that isn't the thing that maybe the most vocal players are waiting for. I think that Ishel, I think, is an example of a god that went over really well that was easier. Bake is an example of a god who was easier and went over very poorly, right? So I think that it can be hit or miss. It's, something, I think that do we consider Hecate simple? I think Hecate's original kit was simple and everybody hated it. And so then we had to rework her kit to not be simple. It's not super complicated, but it's, there's some unique elements to that kit, such as the ult. Is Ishel even that simple? Her abilities are all relatively simple. I mean, we have ability swaps. It's not, they don't do anything totally new. You just have to, I think she's relatively easy. Midget and Axomama for Smite 2. I love the Axomama pitch. We were reading the comments of that, and somebody else mentioned, I don't even remember the name of it, but there's a rainbow llama god as well, and we were talking about that for a little while. That was a very fun post, and it got us into an interesting conversation. Urkuchile, I'm not saying that right, but yes, that is the name of the rainbow llama. But yeah, I think it's lots of fun options there. My friend is having issues with a motion blur that exists when motion blur is turned off. If you have more details, we can look at that, but I'm not familiar with that personally. But we have social media specific skins like Twitch Emir or the YouTube New WA skins. So most of the social media sites have changed their policies since Smite 1 existed and no longer allow you to do anything to incentivize people becoming a follower or doing anything you know. So that was the point of those skins back in the day, was like, hey, you should follow our YouTube and you get a free skin. You should follow us on Facebook and you get a free skin. You should follow us on Instagram, you get a free skin. And we can't do that anymore because they think that that's like abusing the system or something. So probably not anytime soon. We do have Twitch Emir, like he could always come back as a drop or something. But the other platform specific ones, I don't know kind of, what the value would be of it. Do I wear a hat when it is cold out? I mean, when it was snowing, I had a beanie. Yeah, I guess. It is kind of abusing the system. I mean, both people are benefiting, and there was no requirement to stay liking the page. You got the thing? Anyway. Do I wear wigs? No, I don't wear wigs. Did you see, there was some boxing match the other day where a dude got his toupee knocked off. He got hit so hard. Like he was wearing like a glued on toupee and he got hit and the toupee went flying off. It was pretty crazy. You can Google that and find the pictures. Was it a UFC fight? Okay, I thought it was a boxing match. Yeah, it was. I just saw the pictures and I was like, that was crazy. Yeah, and he ended up winning. Yeah, I think so. It was boxing? Okay. Any plans for the gold thing at mid? Yeah, I think we know the gold pickup is kind of like a relatively boring objective. It's one of those things we want to get back to. I think that like there's a lot about the flow of conquest, about conquest objectives that, maybe we're kind of in need of a bigger pass at this point. I think that the most recent updates where we did away with kind of the backside jungles, the teleporters, we added day-night. Like I think all those things brought conquest into a pretty good place. And now if we want to go much further, it kind of needs a bigger update to address things. And going piecemeal, I don't think is going to have much of an effect at this point. Thoughts on Aegis in the current meta? I feel like a cooldown nerf might be needed. I don't know. It seems good to me, but I'm not a balance person. I don't look at those numbers every day, so I couldn't tell you for sure. I think it feels strong to me, but I don't know if it's too strong. Because there's always the trade-off, right? You're getting that instead of beads. You're getting that instead of, Phantom Shell or whatever. Have you guys ever thought about bringing a Paladin's character as a Smite playable character rather than just a skin? So I think the community would riot if, they're already like on the fence sometimes about like that's not a god, if, I remember there was a big debate in the community a little while ago about like if Dracula should count as a character that we could put into Smite or not. And some people are like, oh yeah, 100%. But if we're like, oh no, Pip is now in Smite, I think people would lose their minds. I think that's just going too far probably. We have Grover already, but Grover started in Smite and Grover was like a god's friend. It wasn't like, I don't think there's anybody in Paladins that's technically a god. I mean, maybe like Io is kind of like a goddess of the moon, if I recall correctly. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, they're not. I think that people would be very upset if we did that. What about Godzilla? That has been. There was a guy who used to work here, who's a good friend of mine, a big Seahawks fan. I'm sure he's very happy. Who had pitched Godzilla many times, unironically. Terminus is a Roman god, yeah, but not that kind of Terminus. I think he looked a little different, probably, right? Dude, Genos was kind of a god. Yeah, that's true. But he was like wasn't he like a, no, the monk was the guy with the shotgun was a monk who prayed or whatever, and then Genos showed up. So yeah, I guess Genos kind of is a god. All right. I'm surprised how much Paladin's lore the chatters know. I've not thought about that in a long time. Godzilla is in Smite 1 with the best voice pack ever made. That's a very controversial voice pack, the Kaiju one. It's not supposed to be Godzilla directly, obviously. There's a lot of different Kaiju, but like having the newscaster announcing that pack, I think is amazing. But there's some people who are like, it's very confusing, and I don't know what's happening when they're using those VGS commands. It's not as bad as the one Camazotz skin though. That one is just incomprehensible. The squawking pterodactyl one. Is Godzilla copyrighted or based on a fictional thing? It is copyrighted. It's the thing we would have to like do a crossover with. Did I watch Smite Prime on Saturday? I did not because I was doing family stuff on Saturday, unfortunately. But hopefully you guys, if you watched, you had a good time. It was like, am I saying I don't speak pterodactyl? That's a funny comment. Yeah, I don't know if it was the same way for you guys, but like Saturday was the busiest day in forever in the greater Atlanta area. It was like everybody was out running errands. Like Target was packed. You know, the grocery store was overwhelmed. And I don't know if it's like because everybody was trying to do all their stuff the day before the Super Bowl and not have it like on Super Bowl day, or if it was because like we had snow last weekend and it was icy the week before that, and people just haven't gotten to run errands on the weekend in a while or what. But it was crazy busy on Saturday here. What about an actual kaiju god like Bulgasari from Korean pantheon? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that god in particular, but I do think there's a lot of really interesting characters in Korean mythology that I would like to come back to and revisit at some point. I know that, you know, obviously Princess Bari didn't have quite the impact that we had hoped for. We also didn't make as big of a deal out of that release as we had wanted to initially. So I would like to do more though. Thoughts on a football/soccer skin for Bari? That's a good idea. They have a goddess of the bathroom. You guys know all these really like obscure gods and goddesses. What would have to happen for the team to go back to the one god a week release format? We would need to be a substantially larger team. That's the long and the short of it. You know, we would need to hire, you know, like I'm not going to ballpark the number, but a significant number of people. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. To be, sorry to let you down, but it would take a lot, and we're not in the place where we can really do that right now. Alani check. Oh yeah, so I was trying to say this. I was drinking this earlier. This is a new thing in our fridge at work, and I tried it. It's called Joy Burst. It is a premium hydration beverage. It has electrolytes, which is what plants crave, vitamins, and focus. It is the strawberry lemonade flavor. It's fine. It's kind of like a fancy Gatorade, I would say. And I was hoping for more like a fancy water. So it's okay. I understood that reference. Thank you. How do the numbers look for Smite 2 as far as KPIs? We don't share the exact numbers, obviously, because we're actively developing this stuff and we don't want to say too much. But I would say that like all of our metrics continue to improve. Our retention rates going up across all of the metrics that we look at. We feel like things are heading in a good direction. So we feel pretty good overall. I mean, I think that like we were hitting kind of new player peaks for the past couple weeks. I don't think we did this week, but I think that was, primarily because Super Bowl weekend, people had a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, no, I think that like, just in general, both the objective metrics that we have and the subjective feedback that we've been getting from the community and looking at comments and whatnot, feels like, things are going in the right direction. We, always have room to improve. I was literally this morning going through a doc with somebody that's like, let me see how many pages long this thing is. But it's like how many pages are on this document? Let's see. Oh, not that. But a very long document of just like single line of like, this is a thing that we need to do for the game or that I want to do for the game. And it's like, I don't know, like 6 pages of like single line of like, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. So it's like, there's a lot still. Like, I would be more worried if we didn't know of other things that we could do to make the game better. And we're like, this is what it is. But it's like, no, we have a million things that we can still do to keep making the game better. We're still working on it to do that every week. And we feel pretty good about it. would the work required to get the Morrigan into competitive be a lot? I don't know specifically what the bugs are that are preventing her from being allowed in competitive. I know that we've worked on some Morrigan bugs recently, so it's hard for me to say without knowing exactly what the issues are. What are some things I'd like to get done if the majority of the bandwidth didn't have to go to God ports? I just have like so many UI things that I would like to do. Like there's a lot of features in games that are actually just like UI screens, you know, or you know, updating things in the HUD and yada, yada, yada. So there's a lot of UI stuff that I would love to do, which I'm not going to say exactly what they are, but I have a lot of things on my list. What's the last meal I cooked and how did it go? Am I a good chef? I like to think of myself as a good chef. I cook most every night of the week. Last night I grilled some cod with some oven roasted broccoli. Just, you know, just a little easy little dinner. I think it turned out pretty well. UI updates so we can finally see accolades. That is on my list of things. Yes, there. I would love to have like. Again, I don't think this is the top priority, so please don't ask me about this every show until the end of time, the way that these things sometimes go. But I would love to have a much better, like, stats by God and accolades and performance, you know, trackers and, like, being able to just dive a lot more into, like, what gods you're good at playing and what things you could be doing to play gods better in-game, I think is an area that we could definitely add. And please, Apash, please. I cook for my family too. Yep. What goes into choosing a crossover? Do we reach out to them or do they reach out to us? It goes both ways. So we have definitely reached out to certain people. So like Ruby started with us reaching out to Ruby. Bob Ross was kind of an in-between where Twitch knew both sides and was like, hey, these SMITE people are really good to work with and the Bob Ross people are really good to work with. You guys should talk about this. We think it would be a cool idea. So I think that, you know, things can go either way. Like I just got a random cold call email from somebody that wanted to do a crossover with us yesterday. So like it goes both ways. Reach out to Danny DeVito for a Danza skin. Okay. How hard is the tech to do the race lanes that the arena had years ago for the games? That was fun. I think it's actually pretty easy. I think it's basically just you create an area of the ground and you flag it slightly differently. You know, it's the harder part is just doing the art to put in the racing lanes. Did The Rock ever get back to us after the Titan Talk shout out? No, The Rock did not get back to us, unfortunately. The Baba Yaga and Ixchel are examples of diversity in goddess design. Could we have a middle-aged goddess, perhaps Demeter, at some point? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that, like, in general, we need to make gods that our player base is interested in and wants to play. Sometimes you can do that with a more atypical design, but there's a reason that, like, most of the characters we make are, you know, somewhat conventionally attractive, you know, because that's what most of the gods looked like historically as well, right? Especially the really well-known ones. So, you know, it's something that we could always consider. Obviously, Demeter/Ceres, I believe, was a more middle-aged woman, but, you know, as to how we would represent her in game if we did that, hard to say. Wait, what did Pon say? So yeah, yeah, that was the Rock one. Okay, sorry. So the way that this chat works, sometimes I don't even notice the name of the people who ask the questions. Updates on the ambassador applications I said earlier today, but we got like 600 of them, so there was just a lot to go through. There was kind of a draft list of kind of, I think maybe like 15 or so names that we were going to potentially bring in. But later this week, I would assume there's going to be some sort of follow-up on that. make sure. Yes, we did announce these gods. How are Charon and Gilgamesh coming along? Quite well. We actually had first Gilgamesh playtest today, and he worked pretty darn well. I mean, there were some bugs. You know, there always are. In your first playtest, you're going to run into some issues. But he was doing Gilgameshy things, so that was going pretty well. Yeah, already playtesting. You guys don't appreciate how far in advance we have to work to actually hit a every 2-week cadence. Like it's quite difficult to do what we're doing. Our queues were not cooking, so he had no hits. But he was still he felt like he was doing the Gilgameshy things from the other side. Charon, the dropkick is working. Yes, but all sides of the dropkick were working. And then we had, there's also the question about Charon. Charon's doing well. Charon is, I would say, a little bit further along, and also just has like some, Charon has a little bit more like unique tech to him, I feel like. I mean, he doesn't have the dropkick, but there's just a few things about him that like definitely need a little bit of work to feel better. So like right now, when you get hit by the fear wave, it's just a very bad experience. Like your character kind of like jitters and slows down, and it's not great. And he's got a weird like spline that he leaves behind after he hits with his one, I believe it is. So there's a lot of like little stuff that still needs to get in for Charon, but he's playable. He's been in playtest for a couple weeks now, I would say. So yeah, a little bit more work to be done. Is there technically a chance for us to get Gilgamesh for Charon? Probably not. We're pretty set on that schedule, I would say. Will we expect an all-new god in 2026? Can't confirm or deny right now. Right now, basically, we're trying to listen to the community, and the community, as of right now, seems like they're mostly saying, I want more of the classic gods, and I miss X god, and I'm not going to play until Y god is in, versus, you know, wanting some new gods. So right now we're focused more on classic gods. We can always loop back to new gods. We have a couple new gods in early development that we could put more effort into. Do we already have ideas for aspects before we announce a new god? I would say it depends. Sometimes when you're talking about a god, there's just like a very obvious, like, oh, the aspect needs to do this kind of thing, or this ability would be a really good place to look at for the aspect. Other ones, it's kind of like through the process of implementing the god, ideas come up, and then those can spin off to become the aspect. Like, we knew Neja was going to probably have a more like supporty, maybe bruisery kind of aspect. But the idea of giving him the new 2 refire kind of AoE attack thing was, or not refires, new 2, I guess, was it just kind of came up during development. It was something that Pon had the idea. He tried it initially as a +1, and then he was like, no, I think this is kind of cool. We could spin this off as a whole new aspect. Will we be able to get Ben for the art contest winners show? We probably should. I will pull up that image here. The art contest is going, and I only got to turn around and see. Voting goes from February 14th to February 18th. Submissions are due by February 13th. And then we will have on the show talk about the winners. So check it out. Have we checked accounts to see if players' mains in Smite 1 is ported, then do they move over or stay? I think that, so people that are actively playing Smite 1, I think that most of those people, based on our data, are either on older generation consoles or on older PCs that would not really run Smite 2 super well. There's some people that, are, they're still attached to their skins and they keep playing despite being on faster computers or, new consoles. But that's like kind of the majority of the Smite 1 player base at this point is people that I think probably couldn't play Smite 2 very well if they wanted to. That said, when we port over a more popular god, we do usually see a lot of people who maybe have stepped away from Smite for a little bit. When they see that their god is now out, they're like, oh, I want to go check that out. And then they play Smite 2, and then they're like, oh, wow, this game's actually good now. It's not bad the way that it was when it first, was alpha weekend. So I think that, like, generally speaking, yes, more popular gods do lead to more people playing the game. What is my favorite pasta shape? I would say probably orecchiette, which is like the tiny ears. How hard was it to release Set and Horus in the same patch? Was it an effective way to generate hype? It was extremely difficult, and the team basically was like, I never want to do that again. It was very challenging, because there's, like, you can kind of get some of one of them done first, but there's always some stuff that is coming in at the last minute as you're seeing them in playtest and how they perform and what they need. It was very, very challenging. And I would say it was, in my opinion, probably not worth it. I don't think that it, like, we have some graphs of like the olden days about like what actually brought new players in or brought like spikes of returning players. And I've never noticed that release as having a measurable impact. It doesn't mean that it wasn't slightly more hype for players and it didn't lead to some increased engagement, but I would say it probably wasn't worth the struggle for the team of getting those two gods released at the same time. Pawn is chatting. He says, half the reason also was that they originally had very different kits, and they were meant to be more echo fighters, which is like a Smash thing where it's like two gods that look, or two characters that can look different but largely play the same. So we had planned for 1.25 kits and ended up making 2. So that led to a lot of the problem. Can we add a choose your monitor option in the video settings? Maybe. I can ask. Make a note. If my phone will wake up. But you can probably see my phone case broke over the weekend. I've got like a chip out of it, so I need to get a new phone case. I think I got this one for like $12 on Amazon, so it's not a fancy one, but still. Thoughts on giving an MVP tag to a player at the end of the game? Yeah, the end of match lobby is something that I think that in general, there's a ton of area for improvement there. I think that like, I would love to have like MVP and accolades. People can see like how people did and how you did. And there's a lot that we can do to make that better. Like commendations, we don't have any commendation stuff. There's a lot through that flow. I hate Kuzenbo. I don't hate Kuzenbo. Could we do a choose a skin contest where you give us options for a skin to port for a god and we vote? And we always could do that, but the thing is that the amount of time that it actually takes to run through that whole pipeline means that like you would be voting now for something that you wouldn't see for 2 or 3 months, maybe longer. So I think that there's, people don't like waiting for stuff. And I think that historically when we've done these votes, people are kind of bored of the thing by the time it comes out. So that's my main negative to that. It's 2 o'clock on my watch. So it's time for one more question. Thank you for joining me for a solo show today, a little passionate recap. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, we will have Neja live in game, along with everything else in this update, going live around 9 o'clock Eastern. It's kind of the safe time for me to say. We'll see how it goes on the morning of, and we'll get some tweets out and whatnot once the patch is live. But definitely log in tomorrow, play the game, let us know what you think about Neja. I think he seems pretty good, but that's just my take. I have to pick a question here. Now I might pick 2 since it's just me today, and I always pick more than 1 anyway. Since I never play ranked, do I relegate rank changes and update calls to somebody else? Yeah, normally I let like, Pawn and Clumsy make more of those calls because they both have been more competitive players. Cap's also been more of a competitive player, right? Like I think the people that are more a part of that ecosystem are just better to make calls around that. This most recent ranked reset, I know Clumsy and Pawn both had a lot of like thoughts and feels on and talked a lot about it. So yeah. I didn't say one more question in Titan Talk fashion. I didn't. I thought I did. I didn't say one more question. Was that better? Okay. And is there a place to submit just ideas? We look at Reddit. We look if you tweet at us. You can also just put things in chat here, and we'll talk about them if we see them. And I gotta pick an actual real question. If those don't count, maybe they count. I don't know. A mirror aspect. I don't think we have a plan for an mirror aspect right now. But if you are a mirror fan and you have an idea for an aspect, throw it out there. Put it on Reddit. Maybe we'll find a good idea and we'll go with that. So. Even my mom noticed you didn't say it right. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm off my game today. But I appreciate everybody for watching. Hopefully we had a good time hanging out. Play the game tomorrow, and we will see you on the battleground of the gods. All right. Bye-bye.